winning in life is no accident. Creating individual success is like having a recipe for a great meal. It only works if you know how to use the ingredients. As a best-selling author, entrepreneur, business coach, strategist, and champion, the Lewis Howard Live Show provides you the insider's view on winning. All we do is win, 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 helping you become the best version of yourself.
Mother, there's far too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. War is not the answer. Only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket lines and picket signs don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. What's going on? Ooh, 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 ooh. Ah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lewis Howard Live. Hey, the intro was wild, wasn't it? I got to play tambourines. And of course, our special guest on Lewis Howard Live is none other than Clinton Ellison, and a friend, a musician, entertainer, and has been playing around the United States and parts of the world for over 3 decades. And so he graces with a great interest. What a great, unique entrance to the show. And so we're going to talk to him a little bit. And of course, tonight we're going to talk to you about 1%. Everybody
1%.
likes to talk about the 5% and the 1%, but I want to talk to you tonight about 1% makes a difference. And I'm going to just break that down for you and just show you how to use your 1%. But before we get to that, we're going to talk with Clinton. Clinton, welcome to Lewis Howard Live.
Thank you for having me, Lewis.
Hey, we finally did it. And
finally,
I love
man.
that. What a creative interest. See, and you got me to play tambourines. By the way, I've never played tambourines before.
You got me sitting here nervous, and I had that last chord was wrong.
Yeah, so no, that's awesome. So you've been in the music entertainment business for how long?
Well, Lewis, I started performing at 14.
14.
I started touring at 14 years old.
Okay.
Doing the Three Rivers tour back in Ohio. And I've been performing.
Is that where you're from, Ohio?
Youngstown,
okay.
Ohio.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Yeah.
Let's see, what came from Youngstown? We have boxers. What do we do?
Well, we have
Tire
Ray Boom
company?
Boom Mancini.
Okay.
We have Ernie Shavers.
Yeah. Oh, Youngstown,
We have
yeah.
Johnny Toppy.
That's a tough
Johnny
town.
Toppy. Johnny Toppy's from here.
Yeah.
Isn't it? No. Johnny Toppy's from New Mexico. I'm sorry.
Well, Youngstown's a tough town.
Yeah, it is.
That's a steel town. That's blue collar.
Former steel town.
Yeah, former. You know, you
Yeah.
had to bring it to be down in that area. So you come out of Youngstown
Yes.
and started playing. Like when did you get like your first break? Like I'm like, wow, I'm here.
When I went to Vegas, as a matter of fact, I was in L.A. actually spending some time with Eric Gales, and I don't know if anybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
But Eric Gales is
You
one
guys
of the
got
hottest
Google.
guitar
That's what
players
you got
in the-
Google. Get your Google on.
Right. Eric Gales, hot guitar player. And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
watching him at the Whiskey A Go Go, and then
Yeah.
a Vegas group actually came to town and said, "Oh, well, you know
Yeah.
what? Who's the best singer here in New Mexico?"
Yeah.
And so my name was thrown around, and then it was
Wow.
actually loaded into the hat.
Okay.
And then they had a bunch of other, guys that wanted to audition
So
for
it
this
was like
Vegas
an
group.
audition kind of contest to see who could go and be.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
It was an audition. They had about
Okay.
60 guys, 60
Okay.
male vocalists.
Okay.
And I had to catch an early flight because I was
Sure.
going to be in L.A.
Right.
like the whole weekend plus a couple of days.
Okay.
But I had to catch early flight back to New Mexico.
Okay.
And I got there Sunday night. And my audition was Monday morning.
Okay.
And the managers and everybody sitting out in the audience, Sandia Casino,
Okay,
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, yeah.
And they asked me what kind of cover did I want to sing, and I asked them.
Sure.
I said, "Well, we can do like, do you guys know Superstitious
Sure.
by Stevie Wonder?" They said, "Oh yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, when I started singing Superstitious,
Right.
the manager sitting out there doing this.
Yeah.
Nobody else. And it was sad because
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a lot of applicants,
Sure,
a lot of guys
sure,
waiting
sure.
waiting for their turn.
Yeah.
And they, of course, went through the protocol.
Yeah, but wasn't nothing like winning when somebody said no, nobody else.
Right.
I'm
they
good.
were like this. Nobody
You're
else.
hired. There we go.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I just want to give shout outs to a good friend that actually came forward and said that. His name is Joe Galley.
Okay.
He's a local guitar player in the
Okay,
band, and
okay.
he was working at a place called Grandma's Music at that time.
Okay.
And he put my name in the hat because
Yeah.
that's what he thought. So
So
Joe
part of your
Galley.
journey, after that, so tell our audience a little bit, like maybe some of the people you've played with that that you build relationship in the entertainment. People love the famous, the celebrities, and of course we've had a few, well-known names on our show, but share with them some of the people you've met and played with, or just known or had relationship with.
Well, first of all, I want to start off with the guys that hired me,
Yeah.
because those are the ones responsible for
Sure.
for putting me out into the mainstream of
Yeah.
things. First of all, Mr. Barry Williams, he's from Austin, Texas, and
Okay.
he's been all over the world,
Right.
and that's all he's ever done is perform in
Okay.
like Singapore, Japan. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
and I got to send shout outs to my director,
Sure.
Barry Williams, and then our band leader
Okay.
is Johnny McClain. Johnny
Okay.
McClain is from Kennewick, Washington.
Right.
Washington's
There we
own
go. Washington's
guitar
own.
player
Okay.
extraordinaire.
Yep.
And then our bass player is John Caldwell. He's out of Chicago, Illinois, one of the
Okay.
finest players. He got a chance to play with like artists like Coco Taylor,
Okay.
Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
I think he played also with the Isley Brothers for a while.
Right,
And
okay.
our drummer's Larry McClure. Larry
Okay.
McClure is also a Chicago musician.
Okay.
And he's our drummer too. So
Sure.
first shout outs to them.
Sure.
Shout outs to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who are some of the more like names maybe the audience, like have listened to?
Oh
or,
my goodness.
you
The
know.
list it's a long
Yeah,
list, man.
yeah.
But to name a few,
Yeah.
a good friend of mine I met back in LA about 25 years ago, Mr. Darius Rucker.
Okay.
He's been
Okay.
inspirational.
Yeah.
Also Patti LaBelle.
Okay.
I had an
Yeah,
opportunity
Patti
to meet
LaBelle.
her. I've known
Yeah.
her about 12 years.
Yeah.
I met Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
Emile LaRue and Groove Theory.
Yeah.
And I met her when they were doing getting ready to do a
Sure,
branch tour with Tony
sure.
Rich Project.
Yeah.
Marla Gibbs from the Jeffersons.
Okay. So yeah.
Queen Latifah, I met her in New
Yeah,
York
yeah.
during the annual Vibe, the 1994
Yeah.
Vibe convention,
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, you could throw a lot of names out there.
Yeah.
and-
So when I meet people like you, and I know you've had a lot of experience, so usually what I ask is give me one that stands out at the top of mind, like one meeting or one performance that with somebody of that caliber that stood out to you.
Morris Day and the Time.
Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
Morris
what
Day
an
and the Time, man,
yeah,
because
yeah.
Morris Day came to Seattle.
Okay.
And we were backstage talking. He says, man, when we get ready to groove a little bit on the Bird,
Yeah.
he's going to call you up. So
Yeah.
he calls me up. So we up on the stage. Dun,
Wow.
dun, and it was dun, dun,
Yeah.
doing that thing. And
Right,
I was
right.
like, that was cool, man.
Yeah.
Then I saw him like 3 or 4 times after that
Sure.
with Jesse Johnson.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
all of
Morris
them.
Day and the Time came out of the whole Prince Revolution
Right.
and Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. And
I'm
that
glad you
whole-
mentioned that because I met
Yeah.
Jimmy Jam during
Yeah.
the Black Music Expo
Okay.
in 1993
Yeah.
for the Black Music Expo. I also had an opportunity to
Yeah.
meet the Revolution.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been studying a lot of history. I talked to you about, before we went on live about this, the Black Godfathers. He was referred to, Clarence Avant, and many of you listen to me. If you don't know him, you'll Google him, and entertainers will know him. And every band we've mentioned, he's been connected with them.
Wow.
SOS Band, Bill Withers. I mean, early days, the time. I mean, just every Jimmy Jam and he hired them. He made them the producer to produce with Janet Jackson,
Right.
Because she couldn't
Scream.
get anybody to work
that album,
with her.
Scream? Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
and
right.
so I love. My thing is, I'm not a fan so much, but I'm a historian. I like the backstory, so I could
Right,
care
right.
less about the fame, the glamour piece of it, because I've had exposed. I love the backstory.
Well,
And speaking of which, you're got a project that you're going to be kind of putting together,
Right.
kind of relating a little bit to that. You want to tell listeners a little bit about what you're kind of thinking, or are we too early in that? If
No,
you wanna-
no, no, we're not too early.
So maybe share listeners, because I think this will be an amazing kind of a insider, perspective to the business that you're thinking about doing.
well, I have to talk about first of all, the name of the book is Backstage.
Okay.
And Backstage is a funny title because most people think Backstage is a place where you just, after a set or whatever, you
Sure.
go back to chill out.
Right.
But it's not what I'm
Or
really,
groupies like to get backstage.
Right, they want backstage
I think-
access
You're right. Everybody
or
wants
passes.
access backstage. I mean,
Right,
that's, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But this terminology that I'm talking about is when life really begins.
Sure.
It's the tests and trials that happen off stage.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know how dark the industry actually is. I
Yeah.
spent 6 years in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And there was parts of it that was very, very,
Sure.
bright, brilliant, flamboyant, exciting.
Right.
You're performing for an international audience
Right.
almost 6 days a week. And I
Yeah.
perform 6 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see all these personalities, but life doesn't begin there.
Sure,
It
sure.
begins when you go backstage and everything that happens off stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you're just joining us on Lewis Howard Live, we have Clinton Ellison here talking about his musical entertainment background and journey, and some of the things that he's been able to do. And if you missed the first part of it, you're going to have to get on the replay, as they affectionately call the relaunch party these days. And so you can get that entertainment piece of it. But that was awesome. You don't want to miss that. But we're just kind of going through the journey and of where he's been, because I really love to get the backstory. I really do. I just think life really is the backstory.
That's right.
It's not what you see on Facebook.
That's right.
Okay, because most of those are touched up, filtered.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right. The couple took the funny picture, but they didn't tell you they were fighting 5 minutes before.
Right.
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 And so I like to talk about the 5 minutes before. Now, people take issues with me, because they're like, "Well, you focus, or a positive guy, you focus on the negative." But I find you can't get to the positive till you understand the negative.
The negative, correct.
Right, understand the back part of it, and it sounds like that's kind of what you're sharing, not in a negative, but just another perspective that people don't see.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's your personal
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
off stage.
Yeah. So what are some of the things? And maybe not a specific, but what are some of the things that you saw, or generic, to get into specifics, but what that you saw and you thought, wow, you get that look that we go, wow,
Mind blowing.
yeah,
When people approach you off stage and
Yeah.
offer you all kinds of drugs and all kinds
Yeah.
of things
Yeah.
that possibly can create for you
right,
a device to
Yeah.
possibly basically destroy you.
yeah,
I've seen it. I've been
Yeah.
offered that.
yeah,
And the money, the
Yeah,
women,
yeah,
the drugs.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's a dark hole and a
Yeah.
big vacuum.
yeah,
And that had a lot of deep spiritual roots because I came from out of a good family,
Sure.
good mother and father, and they taught all of us,
Yeah.
my 6 brothers and sisters, all of the values
6
that we need to
brothers
have.
and sisters.
Yeah.
Man, that was a house.
That was a house.
6 brothers and sisters. My
But
God.
actually, it wasn't just a house; it was a home, dude.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It was a home. It was a
Yeah,
home.
but it was a house that fought a few times. You got 6 brothers and sisters.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
you
yeah.
had some. Yeah,
I was the first son,
yeah,
so you know I was spoiled.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. The first. Yeah. That'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna start this book, and who who's your audience? I mean, who do you want to read this book? Who do you want to see and say, I want that group to understand, what really happens backstage?
Well, two types of groups. Those who aspire
Yeah.
to do this occupation
Yeah.
of sorts, because it's different reasons why people approach it.
Sure.
And I want to make sure that they know
Yeah.
that it's very important that the way you approach it
Right.
has everything to do
Sure.
with how it facilitates
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and what to expect
Yeah.
and how to handle it.
Yeah, because I found my experience, and I've known people that have gone to L.A. and became famous in either entertainment, movies, but I also realized that like when you look at some of what we call the cautionary tales, a lot of them took the bait of what you just described. They took the drugs, they took the money, they took those offerings. And, you look at the early part of Ray Charles's career,
Right.
He took the offerings and it really started to, divert his career. And he was
Yeah, it
fortunate
began to
enough to turn,
spiral.
was
in
fortunate
a lot
enough
of
to
ways.
turn around. But not a lot of them are not fortunate.
You know what? And
Yeah.
that, and I have to, it brings me to a song that I wrote
Yeah.
that we're getting ready to release. It's called In Maisie. In
Okay.
Maisie is a town that exists in every city in the world. And in Maisie means that you're trying to live your life through a maze, and everywhere you turn, and you think you've
Maisie.
mastered your
Yeah.
life, but you come to a place
Yeah.
where you're in a maze. You have four walls. You have a wall here,
Yeah.
bottom, top, and
Yeah.
then a dead end.
Right.
And you have to back out
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
proceed with life in another direction.
Yeah.
And think you've mastered it, and then
Right.
you end up in another maze, in Maisie.
Yeah, amazing. I'll remember that. That's good. That is good. We'll take a note on that. I'm at still.
I'm sending you the track.
So, how did you do during the pandemic? I mean, did you do anything different? Obviously, it changed, entertainment and what you could do and not do. How was that adjustment during that time for, being in music and entertainment?
Well, it done a lot of things for me. It gave me an opportunity to stop,
Yeah.
take a moment of pause, because I was working all the time
Sure.
anyway. I needed a vacation, but
Yeah.
not like this.
Yeah.
But it made me take a moment of pause and look at everything
Sure.
that I took for granted,
Okay. Yep.
and caused me to redirect myself and say that it's not just about career.
Sure.
And it's not just about the music.
Yeah.
It's about the people, and it's about purpose.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had to refocus. And
Yeah.
then it made a better person,
Yeah.
a better person out of me.
Sure.
It gave me a better target.
Yeah, it's I'm fascinated what different people did during the pandemic, and some followed the letter of the law, some did not.
Well,
right?
a lot did not.
And some made adjustments and change, and some did not. So I'm always interested in that, because my goal going into it was to become a better person coming out of it. And that was challenged at every core on a lot of different levels. But I do feel like I came out a better person because I did just what you talked about, right? Take the time. You have the time. You've been given this time to assess and maybe spend some time looking at some areas of life you wouldn't have time to do.
Right.
It's literally like the clock slowed down for us, because what is one thing we always say? I don't have enough time.
Right.
Well, in 2020, you had enough time.
You had plenty of time.
You had plenty of
Plenty of
time.
time,
So
yes.
you can no longer use that as a foundation of not paying attention unless you just spent time complaining or focusing on what was going on. But everybody had a little more time. It was an equal opportunity time.
Equal opportunity.
Right. And so it's interesting to talk to people about what they're doing. So what do you do now? What are some of the projects you're working on now, or just are you
I'm writing.
doing? Okay.
I'm writing
Yeah.
new songs, and focusing on post pandemic
Okay.
post-pandemic material.
Yeah,
And
good.
what I've seen it do
Yeah.
to a lot of people. I've
Sure.
seen it destroy people in my
Yep,
life.
absolutely.
I've had friends that died
Yep.
of
Yeah.
COVID.
Sure.
And I've had people in my life that have had it.
Yeah.
And in this tragedy, I've seen how it has mentally, psychologically, spiritually affected so many people
Sure.
in such a drastic way, but not entirely, because
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that have been
Sure.
awakened
Yeah.
because of this.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that too. And
Yeah,
so
I think I mean, if you look at some of the numbers are startling. And you know, I'm a research geek, so you know, the crisis line was up 900%.
And so was the
Divorces were up
suicide rate.
47%. You know, people, you know, checking out. It changed people more than we talked about, right?
Right.
We were okay to engage in the political fight or the economic fight, and I think that's because that made us not have to focus on, you know, some of the stuff was going on. But I think the champions, the winners, they did what you did.
Right. And they did what you did.
And they did what it. I mean, I wrote a book. I mean, my book, my book, Living Up in Delaware, came out of this.
And thank you. You inspired me to write a book.
And so, yes,
you.
and I'm glad to be able to do that. I hope I can inspire 1,000 people to write a book, because I think it is the journey of your life, and it encapsulates a time where you are, and no one can ever take that away. It's the one thing nobody can take away from me. You know, I've lost money, assets, family, friends. You ain't taking my books.
Right.
They belong to me.
That's your legacy.
There it is.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Clinton, well, thank you for stopping in. We really do appreciate it. We got to have you back, because I want to follow the trail of the book. And I know I know you're really reaching out to young men.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to talk about that a little bit before we go to break, just some of the things you're doing there, just to kind of reach the kind of the next generation.
Well, I mean, I have a I guess you could call it a proclivity.
Yeah.
And it's like smoking cigars, right?
Yeah.
And so I started out smoking cigars, and then I discovered that while I was smoking cigars, I was socializing.
Right.
And while I was socializing, I noticed we had interesting dialogue
Sure.
between men and women,
Yeah.
predominantly men.
Right.
And they actually started pouring their hearts out
Yeah.
as to the things that they were going through in their lives. And so I
Okay.
said, well, you know what? This could really start something. So
Sure.
why don't we start a men's support group and then use cigars to do
Sure.
it
Yeah,
while
yeah.
we're smoking cigars? And
I love it.
yeah, and then we can sit back and
Yeah.
be honest about things.
Sure.
And everyone,
Yeah.
no person has a right to judge the other person.
Right.
We hear their story while we're smoking cigars and
Sure.
say, well, what did
Yeah.
you do to overcome this? What?
Yeah.
And then they share that. And then I
Yeah.
say, well, this is what I've done. This is what I've done. And it adds support to that person.
I
adds
love it.
value
I love it.
to that
Well,
life.
you know, it
what
takes
I mean?
40 minutes to take on an average cigar, so you got time to sit there and chop
Not
it
the
up.
ones I smoke.
Well, you
'Cause
you're,
you see,
you're faster.
I
Okay,
smoke
you
that
got the
LaFleur.
the big
It's about
ones.
that big, man.
Yeah.
The LaFleur's a 2-hour smoke.
Yeah. Hey, well, we'll have you back, and we're going to track you. And do you have a website the listeners can maybe get on, or if they want to just reach
No, they
out
can
to you?
find me on social media.
Okay.
You can find me
yeah,
on,
get him up, because he's on Facebook. I know you're on
Right.
Facebook, because I
Facebook.
follow you there. And
Find me on LinkedIn.
And where you're going to be playing next. I know you're spending a lot of time in our area and the region, so hanging out. And with a
Right.
couple other friends of ours, so we appreciate it. We'll have you back, but thank you so much for stopping in on the show and
Thank you for
being
having me,
part
Louis.
of the conversation. And again, for our listeners, if you miss any part of it, it'll be uploaded onto Lewis Howard Live on every website that we have, and you can get any portion of the show that you have missed. We're going to take a quick break, and we come back. I'm going to jump into the conversation about 1% makes a difference. You're listening to Lewis Howard Live.
Lewis
I
Howard
love
Live.
to inspire. Thank you, Clint. We'll be right back
Thank
after
you,
these
Louis.
messages.
The Millionaire Club charity is one of Seattle's oldest existing charities. In addition to job placement and employment services, the Millionaire Club provides job training and licensing to help workers become qualified and job ready, from nutritious meals and sack lunches to housing assistance to stabilize their lives. Despite its name, the donors to the Millionaire Club are ordinary citizens with a desire and passion to help fellow citizens overcome the barriers of employment and housing. For more information, call 206-728-JOBS or go to millionaireclub.org.
Hey, thanks for joining and being part of the conversation. I hope you enjoyed, Clint. I thought it was good, some good insight, and we are thrilled to always just kind of bring a different flavor. You know, last time we had Malcolm on mountains and movements, climbing Mount Everest. We're going to just continue to kind of break it up and make it worthwhile for you to join and being part of the conversation. So I want to talk to you a little bit about DNA, right? You think, man, why are you talking about DNA? I want to talk about DNA because, you know, as we come out of the pandemic and we come out of COVID, you're going to resume your life in some shape, form, or fashion. And I want to see people get back to their groove. A lot of people had to go on pause, and and a lot of, dirt. I mean, the dirt is, disappointments, interruptions, rejection, and trouble. Spells dirt. So we had to go through a lot of dirt during the last year. So it really is about getting back to really what you want to be and what you want to do. So according to DNA, right, 99.9% of us share the same DNA, right? And that we're surprisingly similar to a lot of other living things as well as each other, and that our bodies have over 3 billion genetic building blocks or base pairs that make us who we are. So, that saying is we're more alike than different is very true when it comes to DNA. The difference between us and presumably chimps regarded is depending on about 1% to 2%. So we're close to the animals, a little bit different. So based on the examination of our DNA, any two human beings are 99% identical. The genetic difference between different groups of human beings are very minute. But that minute, that less than 1% can make a big difference. And that's what I really want to share is that take your 1% and make a difference. So, the difference are biologically, our eyes are going to be different, our skin color is going to be different, height's going to be different, tones, shapes, sizes, abilities, those are all going to be different. And so the difference is, I think, in DNA and using the 1% is either in life you are a brick or you are a stone. And I'll explain the difference between that because the culture likes bricks. And the reason is because a brick is something that is a block used for building walls and pavements, and it's necessary in masonry construction. The brick walls, brick fireplaces, those bricks have to be uniform. You can't have stones in a fireplace or a side of a building and call it uniform. So people like that. So, in culture, we have bricks. We have people that are bricks. And I love bricks because we need bricks. They're teachers, they're engineers, they're people that go to work every day, service people, first responders. Those are people that are bricks. They are our foundation of society. And they're there when you need them. Nurses, doctors, I can keep going on. But those are the bricks. Those are the foundations of people that we look at. So in order to be a constructed wall to be built, bricks have to line up with one another, right? As I said. So sometimes you're in school, teachers want you to line up and be a brick. But you are not a brick, right? I was not a brick. I was a class clown. I used to like to cut up in class. And, when she said shut up, that was startup for me, right? I just wanted to be different, and my teacher had a hard time with that. The other thing is I was rated a genius when I was a kid, and nobody understood how to deal with a kid with a genius IQ. And so I was treated differently, almost like I had a mental deficiency because I couldn't pay attention to certain things or I wasn't focused. That's a brick mentality. Again, nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging that if you fall in any one of the categories, but that is not using your 1% for its maximum conformity, right? So the other one is, I call it the stone mindset. Okay, now the stone mindset is a stone that is mineral matter, which is can be shaped and made to be into different sizes, right? So a stone can be used in the same fashion as a brick, but it's not designed to line up, right? So like stone work, masonry work. There are people that have a stone mindset, and that means you don't fit. And the problem with a lot of our culture is that if you come across as a stone mindset, a lot of times you are kind of rejected, okay? People that are super creative, people that think outside the box. A lot of people that have been diagnosed with ADHD, they got a stone mentality. They are creative. Put something creative in front of them, and they can see the difference. All right, so you say, all right, Lewis, I get you, I'm following you, but give me some examples, make me take it home. All right, let's start with Elon Musk. Is Elon Musk a stone or a brick? Is he an engineer? Is he a teacher? Is he a law enforcement? Or is he a game changer? Is he somebody that thought outside the box? Well, let me tell you what he is. Elon Musk is an entrepreneur and business magnate. He is the founder and CEO, chief engineer of SpaceX, early space investor, CEO and product architect of what? Tesla. The founder of the Boeing company and co-founder of Neuralink works with him. Here's what people said about Elon Musk. Here's what they said about Tesla. Quote unquote, they're doomed. They were recently declared one-star auto reviewer who advised that the battery boys, that's who they refer to as the battery boys, fold up their tents and go home. It's only a matter of time before we hear, for example, the first sob of a story of someone who got stranded on the side of the road because they ran out of battery juice. Okay? Because Elon Musk wanted to break out of the brick mentality. The brick mentality was gasoline, petroleum. We've been on that since the 1930s. Elon Musk says, hey, I'm going to be a stone. Let's create some electricity. Let's put some cars on electricity. Well, the naysayer said, no way, we're not doing that. Don't be trying to be a stone. Don't be trying to be, as they used to say in the South, too big for your britches. Okay? As they say in Australia, big poppy. Okay? Anytime you start trying to break out of the wall, right? Remember the song, Another Brick in the Wall, right? You start trying to break out a wall, people are going to resist that. So you can see the reviews that Elon Musk got early on in his career before we're all driving Teslas. Now it's a thing. If you listen to me right now, it's not a big deal. You're going, well, that wasn't a big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal first on driving the Tesla. But as it goes on to say that Elon Musk and others were not deterred by the negative brick thinking and pressed forward, and now Tesla is now becoming a household name in just under 20 years. And most car manufacturers will have full electric cars in the next 10 to 15 years. The stone mindset prevail. Let's go and talk about other mindsets that are stone. There are thousands of others. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Oprah, Warren Buffett. All right, so I've talked about all those, and I'll take a quick break, and then when I come back, I want to talk about you, because I always talk about great people, but I want to talk about you because I think there's some takeaways that you can have the stone mindset, that you can use your 1% DNA to make a difference in your everyday life. So stay with me. I'll take a quick break. We'll come back and put a wrap on this and share with you some insights. You're listening to Lewis Howard Live and watching Lewis Howard Live. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Millionaire Club charity is one of Seattle's oldest existing charities. In addition to job placement and employment services, the Millionaire Club provides job training and licensing to help workers become qualified and job ready, from nutritious meals and sack lunches to housing assistance to stabilize their lives. Despite its name, the donors to the Millionaire Club are ordinary citizens with a desire and passion to help fellow citizens overcome the barriers of employment and housing. For more information, call 206-728-JOBS. or go to millionaireclub.org.
Hey, thanks for joining us. This is Lewis Howard Live. Thank you for being part of the conversation today. What a well-rounded show today. We had entertainment, music, and movement started. And so we're talking about using your 1%. How do you use your 1% DNA that separates you from 8 billion people on the planet and not become ordinary? And not become a discount version of yourself and your life as you may have been described by a teacher or coach. Remember Michael Jordan, they cut him from the team in high school. They said he wasn't tall enough. He didn't make it. They made him a brick. But guess what Michael Jordan came back and did? He became a stone, right? There was a musical group in a place called Liverpool, England. And they were turned down a total of 4 times by leading record companies at the time. This group said they didn't have it, they would make it, and they were turned down by at least 4 record companies that we know. And after getting a fair hearing at each, in other words, they heard them out, they listened to the music, and then they turned them down. That should have been the end of their story. But guess who they became? They became the Beatles, right? They wouldn't stay in the brick mentality. They wouldn't stay in the current music of its day. They went on to become one of the world's greatest acts that we still celebrate, the Beatles, Paul McCartney and company. So let's talk about you. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about you. Number one, if you want to enjoy a stone mindset versus a brick mentality, is number one, never let anyone talk you out of your vision or dream, no matter how crazy it sounds or seems. Some of the best things that we enjoy, people thought was a crazy idea. And I'm not talking about people on the street. I'm talking about people with money and power and influence. A lot of the music that you hear, you only hear it because people did not quit on their dream. it's too easy to let somebody who's a brick mentality talk you out of a dream. Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, had two dads. He said he had the rich dad and he had the poor dad. So the rich dad was the stone mentality. He was creative. But the poor dad was the brick mentality. He was a teacher. And he inspired Robert not to go for money, not to go be an entrepreneur, whereas the rich dad who ran a business said, no, you can do it if you learn how to do it well. Robert Kiyosaki has influenced America and the world over the last 15 years with the rich dad, poor dad concept. The only reason that happened is because he didn't let the poor dad talk him out of his dream. What can you do in your life? What's on the shelf of your life? What seed is dead and buried that you thought was forgotten because at 8 years old, somebody tried to talk you out of something that you thought made sense, but you didn't have the resources, right? It's like being one of my mentors was teaching me, he says, it's like being a ship. You're designed to be a ship, a big container, but people are treating you like you're a little 14-foot pleasure boat. Okay, so it's how people treat you, and they do shape how you think. So number one is not letting people talk you out of a dream. Number two is 80% of people miss their dreams. 80% of people do not hit their dream. This is a survey. This is not me making this up. Didn't just come out of my head. 80%. So only 20% make their mark. Okay, and the reason why 80% miss their dream is because they don't use their 1%. They let the brick mentality, the brick mindset influence them to say, wait your turn. Get in line. This ain't for you. You can only have so many pieces of the pie. Well, first of all, life is not a pie. Life is a river. And if you run around with a pie mentality, then you get what you deserve, because you ought to be looking for rivers. You ought to be looking for more than enough. We live in a world that has been supplying oxygen since the beginning of time. No matter how old the earth is, it hasn't ran out of oxygen, no matter what they're telling you. So there is abundance, okay? So you need an abundant mentality, and one of the things you do is don't let people talk you out of a dream, and use that 20%. Look, if you only got 20%, if you only got $1, I can't tell you how many shows I watch where somebody tell me that they got a loan for $1,000 or $2,000. One of my guys I like to watch is called West Coast Customs. And it's a great car show. And he started with a $5,000 loan from his grandfather. Now he's turned into an international empire, right? And so there are people that start in their garage. The guy that you shop the most with right now called Jeff Bezos, guess where he started that company? It would be 80 degrees today. It would be in a garage, okay? So here's the deal about that is, don't marry the end of the story, which is what we do. We like to post on Facebook. We like the trips. We like the glamour. We like the Bentleys. We like the fun. But let me just tell you that everybody has a story. And if they tell you that they don't have a story, they're lying to you and misrepresenting to you, because everybody had a start and they began with something. So my challenge to you today is, don't be part of the 80% that missed their mark. Be part of the 20% that hits their mark, and be like Tom Brady. Just go down in the red zone and score again, rinse and repeat, right? You got to be that, and not let people tell you you're too old. Tom Brady's 40-some years old. That's too old to be playing quarterback, according to most people. Russell Wilson is 5'11". That's too short to be a quarterback in the NFL. But did it talk them out of their dream? Absolutely not. We wouldn't have heard of them if they weren't. So think about people you know in your life and maybe inspire them. Allow yourself to be coached, instructed, and trained to do something bigger than yourself. Number 3 is, you got to allow yourself to be coached, okay? Don't fall in love with Batman and Iron Man and Superman that didn't have coaches, okay? That's not real life. Everybody in real life needs a coach. Ask any premium athlete, no matter what sport they play in, they will all tell you they have at least one coach. Some of them have 5 or 6, okay? And they need the coach. A child needs a coach. Any child left to himself is going to be a wreck, because you just don't know what you don't know. I have been coaching people for 25 years, and the best people that I have helped change their life is because they listen. Anytime somebody starts telling me, I know, you're done with me. Here's why. Because there's no end date on learning, changing, and growing. Okay? That never stops. Paul DeJour is a billionaire. He sold Patron for $5 billion. He's worth $8 billion. The man still goes to seminars and listening to motivational speakers, still trying to learn. I know people got $8 and they can't learn anything anymore. I got $8 whole. I don't need you to tell me nothing. Okay, then you were a fool waiting to go somewhere to happen, because in life, you never know. There is no end date. There's no I got a degree. There's no I have worked here for 20 years. That doesn't work, because guess what? The technology that you were using 10 years and whatever you're doing, it don't even exist anymore. You got to trade in your iPhone every 18 months or it's obsolete. So you can't fall in love with what used to. You can't be old school forever. You need to come. If you want to influence the next generation, they are not influenced by old school. They are influenced by their school. And you need to learn what their school is, which is their language, their terms, their dress, and what they're doing. So if you want to be a coach, you got to learn how the students think. Okay? There's a lot of things I love to do. There's a lot of music I love to listen to, but I get it. It's not everybody's genre, so I don't push that on them. I'm not going to be running around every place I am playing Motown, pushing it on people. I love Motown. I can listen to Motown 12 hours a day, but I get it. There's some Bruno Mars fans out there, right? There are some people out there that love different kind of music that, hey, I got to get used to. I like me some Bruno Mars, some Migos, right? But if I'm going to relate to people that are younger than me, and if they're going to be working for me, I got to appreciate what they do. It can't just be my way, right? Study, 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 and study some more. Great people will always tell you have to study. Keep studying. Historians say that when you study, you actually reset your brain. That's why teachers live longer and engineers live longer than other people, because they have kept their brain active and they continue to keep their brains active. So you got to keep studying. You got to keep learning. There's no end date on that. Destroy the quitter within your own thinking. Did you know you have an enemy within? Okay. And if you don't know that, you better go find it, because there's an enemy within each one of us. And it's called a quitter. It's called weakness. It's called fear. It's called doubt. And so you got to deal with that. If you really want to use your 1%, you got to deal with the quitter within you. You got to not get to that point and just, I'm going to give up. I don't have enough money. I'm black. I'm white. I'm Indian. I'm native. I'm Spanish. I'm too short. I'm female. You got to stop all that. That's just the enemy within you. That's why I'm not with, I'm with part of the culture change and I want to see with it, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not with all of it, because some of it has to do with personal accountability and personal responsibility and personal change, and the culture doesn't talk about that. And there is a part that you have to play in your own journey and your own life, and I don't want the government playing that role. I don't want organizations playing that role. I don't want people in my business. I want to be the master of my own ship, right? That is a Mandela. He said, I am the captain of my own fate. You got to be that. You don't want to look to the government. You can't be letting people run your life, because if they give you life, they're going to take life for you, right? They'll take things from you. If they give you money, they can come take the money. So you want to make a life where I'm using my 1% to make a difference in my own. All right, so stay away from bricks. Okay, I described to you examples of bricks. You probably got to stay away from bricks. If you're a stone, stones don't hang out with bricks. Okay, so you might have to separate yourself from the bricks in your life, the people that don't want to change, the people that just want to make a living, the people that mediocre is okay. I'm not judging them, but that's not my game. Okay, I'm not looking to take the Continental Trailways bus everywhere. I want a jet. Okay, I want to get there quicker. I got things to do. And you know what? I've lost friends because of my ambitions, and that's okay, because you know what? I brought new friends in. So if you get rid of the people that you don't need, all you're doing is making room for new people. Really, again, what this conversation is about, using your 1% and using it to make the best version of yourself. Be okay with rejection. That's the last point I'll share with you today. Be okay with rejection. There are people that's going to reject you, and they're going to say your idea ain't worth shiitake. You're not going to amount to anything. Forget about it. You're never going to be famous. You're never going to be a billionaire. You're never going to be a model. You know, stop telling somebody 5'3" they can't be a model. How do you know? How do you know what technology might come out in the future, right? So you have to be okay with rejection, because people don't know what they don't know. Right? And if people have not walked with you the whole mile of your journey, they just don't know. And it's okay. Be okay. And you know what? I got a famous saying with people like that. Go with God, but go. okay? Because I'm going a different way. So that's a decision you got to make, because what I find is people hold on too long to the wrong people. They need to cut bait, and they're unwilling to cut bait, and a lot of time it's dragging your boat down, and you need to be willing to cut bait and say, you know what, I need to pull this anchor up, cut this anchor, because I need to go. And I love you. I got people in my life that I love, but I love at a distance. Okay, I love them. I love them in Texas, Arizona, wherever, but I don't love them in Seattle because we can't run like that, right? I'll do anything for them, but we need to stay at a distance. They taught us during the quarantine that you had to keep social distance. Well, I think you need to keep dream distance. You got to find people that I need to keep dream distance, whatever that distance is. Maybe it's 15 feet, maybe it's 20 feet, maybe it's 50 feet. I keep dream distance between people. I keep spiritual distance between certain people because I don't want them infecting me with their trauma, their drama, and their baggage that I didn't create and I shouldn't have to carry. So, again, it's your choice. You got to make the decision. It doesn't happen overnight, but I want to inspire you to take the 1% of your DNA that separates you from 8 billion people on the planet to be in that 20% that gets to the finish line, that raises the checker flag, that hoists the Super Bowl and say, I got here, I did it, it was hard, but I get it. Look at champions. Most of them cry when they get to their big moments. Look at the first championship that Michael Jordan won. He cried because you know what? It was the years. It was 8 years of playing on the worst team in the NBA, right? And going through the battle, and you hit that moment, and there are tears. It's tears of joy to make sure you got that moment. And so, you know what? If you need to find some place that make you share some tears, if you ain't got that, keep running, because you ain't got to a place that really has exemplified the pain, the blood, the sweat, the cheers, and the tears that you've put in. Hey, I'm Lewis Howard Live. I love to inspire. Catch us. You can catch us on YouTube. Hey, don't forget my best-selling book that's just now getting hot in Canada. Now they're back and open. Lewis Howard Live, Living Up in Down Times. Of course, you can get my Inside the Mind of Champions and whatever, From Here to There. And, of course, we have over 540 shows that are available by audio. And, of course, we're having fun doing the live television shows. Hey, tell a friend to tell a friend. Sharing is caring. And have them being part of a conversation. Hey, if you got a special story, I might put you on the podcast. So hit me up at Lewis Howard at L Howard 360, and we might give you a shot to be on the Lewis Howard Live show. We'll see you again on another edition. Thank you for being part of the conversation. Every great champion knows that success, overcoming, and winning in life is no accident. Creating individual success is like having a recipe for a great meal. It only works if you know how to use the ingredients. As a best-selling author, entrepreneur, business coach, strategist, and champion, the Lewis Howard Live show provides you the insider's view on winning. All we do is win, 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 helping you become the best version of yourself.